Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Crazy D's Equipment. Today we're going to talk about possibly a very rare case DC4. Okay guys, so this is a case DC4, and you said, well, what makes it a DC4? Well, there are several different types of the case of the DC or the D series. There's the D, which is a shorter, lower plow tractor like the one I have in my garage, which maybe some of you have seen. I made a few shorts on the channel with. The DC4 has the short but solid front end. The DC has the tricycle front end, and the DC3 has the wide front adjustable front end. This tractor here is propane. I just purchased this here just recently on a farm sale, and I knew I had to have this. So what I can't figure out, and what I've been doing a bunch of research on, is I cannot figure out how many DCs came out propane. Case did not produce them from factory, as what I've learned. I've done a bunch of research, and a lot of the older Case guys have told me if you wanted a propane tractor, D series or S series at the time, what you had to do was either you went to the dealership, you told the dealership you wanted a propane tractor, and they would send a gas tractor back to the factory and have it converted over to propane. Or there was companies, a gentleman was telling me about a company down in Florida that converted tractors over to propane for people, and they have the only in existence propane 400 orchard tractor. So this tractor could be very rare or might not. I cannot get a exact number on how many of these were done this way. Now there's a few differences, tiny differences between the gas version and the propane version. You know, first of all, there is the propane tank, which is, it's a propane tractor. And then about the only other real difference between the two is that there's a bracket on the side that for hanging your regulator for the propane. I'm sure that it probably has a higher compression head, because that's kind of normal on propane tractors. When I bought this tractor, I told the doc, I was like, oh, I got that propane tractor. I didn't give very much for it. I'm so excited. It runs really good, and we'll fire it up here in a minute, and we'll show you some things on it. But Doc looked at me and went, oh, we're going to convert it to gas, because I don't usually keep propane tractors, because it used to be, and it's not so much, it used to be in my area that propane tractors were kind of a pain in the butt, because there were so many rules and regulations about filling the tank. You either had to have a wet leg of in your own tank, or you had to take it to the propane guy. The engine had to be cool. They had to keep it for 12 hours after filling to check it for leaks, et cetera, and all that goes back to a few years ago in a little town here in Kansas, in my area. They had some propane machinery, I don't know if it was a tractor or a truck or what, explode and take out some propane and some oil and some fuel storage tanks, and then they made all kinds of rules and regulations. But over time, those rules and regulations have started to relax in this area, so it's kind of not so bad now to own a propane tractor. Propane became real popular in there's some companies like Moline who just produce tons and tons of propane tractors. Finding a non-propane Minneapolis Moline tractor is kind of rare. You can find some diesels, maybe find some gas, but majority of them, they produced under propane. Case didn't do that. Case was more of a gasoline and a diesel company. They did produce quite a few L's, or not L's, but LA's propane. You find a lot of propane LA's, and that's due to when you're doing, that was their big field tractor. That was their tractor for producing and doing large field work. And I had a farmer one time tell me when we were cleaning up his place and we were buying a bunch of equipment and tractors, and he had a whole bunch of LP tractors and a bunch of old gas tractors that had been converted to LP fairly shoddily. They didn't do a great job at it. And he said that was because at the time, in the late 50s, late 40s, early 50s, and through that period of time, that propane was 4 cents a gallon and gas was 24. So it was cheaper to run those tractors all day on propane, and instead of running those tractors on gasoline. So they'd converted everything over on the farm to LP, got a tank with a wet leg so they could fill their own tractors and stuff. And there was a point in the 70s where there was a huge push to get vehicles transferred over to propane during the gas crisis. Plus, it was better for the environment. That was a thing in the late 70s, early 80s, and all the way to the 90s. Something that's been growing. But could you imagine what the world would be like if every vehicle on the road and all these and everything that's gas now produced nothing but liquid vapor? We would be in a very rainy world. I think we'd have a lot of extra water in the world. Now, right now, for the West Coast, California, Utah, Arizona, with the way things are going on out there, they'd probably appreciate that right now. But for the rest of us, that wouldn't be such a great thing. But that's kind of off the subject, off the tractor. So let's take a check out. Let's check out the propane tractor. Check out the gas version of the tractor. Okay, guys, let's kind of talk about a little bit what this DC4 is going to need. So you can definitely tell it's an older restoration. The paint's faded a little bit. The stickers are faded. Those are really pretty when they're all fully colored like they are. They definitely put some aftermarket lights on it. Those are not the original round lights like it would be. And I think I may have a set in the building, so maybe later on me and Doc will do that. They use this tractor for mowing. It came with a mower when I bought it, which is something that'll go on the lot, but apparently they went under some tree branches that were a tad bit too small because the muffler's been broke off, and this is definitely the air breathers. Seen better days, but I believe I have one of those. It's going to need rear tires. These are very dry rotted and cracked. They are 1338s, and I do believe I have a set, so we can get those put on. And then if we move around to the back here, all right, guys, so on the back here, they've changed this arm, and I think I have this connector arm. They've changed the hydraulic fittings over to modern, but I'm going to leave that way. I'm not going to mess with it because I'm going to actually probably use it to do things too. And then the last and final thing that this tractor really needs, and it's about the only thing, is the latch on the Eagle hitch here is broke off. I do have a parts one, and I might steal it from that. I haven't decided, or I did find that I can order them, and so maybe I might just order me one and just put a new one on there. It has the original correct cylinder. If we look over at this one, the cylinder's broke on it, and I haven't been able to find one of those to get it fixed. But here in a minute, when we finish this up, I'll have Doc fire this thing up and drive it away, and you can hear this fine girl purr as she heads back to the shed. But let's step over here real quick, and let's compare these two tractors so you kind of see the difference, some of the difference between the propane and the gas, and how very little there is. Okay, guys, so the very few differences there are is, of course, you have the big propane tank, and then you have the propane style carburetor, and we'll look at how it's set up on the other tractor in a second. And then you have this bracket here and the fuel regulator, which you wouldn't have on a gas tractor. This here, I'm not for sure if that's the original regulator. I don't think it is, but let's just take a look at how that's set up on the gas version. So on the gas version, you have the standard oval tank that's covered by the tin work, and then you just have the carburetor, the fuel line, and the air breather. None of all the extras are down there. So I mean, it's, you know, besides, I do believe that probably has higher compression on the propane version. I think that's how usually propane tractors work. Otherwise, it's you know, there isn't much change. Everything else on the tractors are the same. How they are, the transmissions, they operate, nothing's different. So, you know, I don't know, a lot of you guys are very familiar with these tractors and thinking all this is fluff on exterior, but there are guys that come in here that are new to tractors, and I kind of want to walk them through the difference between a propane and an LP tractor, which is propane, or a gas tractor. So, but let's have some fun and let's get that other case tractor fired up. All right, Doc, before you fire it up, why don't you walk them through the steps of starting the tractor?
So the first thing you got to do with this thing is, because you got to turn
the propane
on, and then being that it's distributed, has a distributor instead of the mag like the other one does. You got to turn the switch on, and then with this thing, it's just
Thanks for coming in, guys. Thank you for watching. We highly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Time to get this pulled out of the yard.